Nova Scotia is one of the provinces seeing students return to school today, but in the days leading up to today, teachers have been really vocal about their concerns. With more, I'm joined by Paul Wozney. He's the president of the Nova Scotia Teachers Union. Paul, good morning. Good to see you again. So what are you hearing this morning from teachers?
Well, I'm not hearing much from teachers. They're busy working with their students, trying to make the best of the situation they've been handed by our government. What we knew based on last week is that a lot of the promises made in the plan, students were going to be physically distanced consistently at 1 meter. We know that's not the case. The vast majority of classrooms in Nova Scotia have kids packed into rooms where there's less than 1 meter of distance possible. Masking is mandatory but effectively optional. Kids can take off their masks if they feel like it. We don't have masking in grades P to 3. And although we were promised that students were going to be hand washing with warm soap and water multiple times a day, there are no additional hand washing stations purchased and installed and ready to use in Nova Scotia schools. So if hand washing is going to happen, it's going to happen in existing bathrooms in schools, which are insufficient to facilitate the number of hand washing sessions that are required a day. And many schools report bathrooms where plumbing fixtures like sinks and soap dispensers are non-functional or just not working altogether.
So did you have to open school then today? If there are that many concerns, was there any other option? I mean, could you have put it off?
Well, the teachers union can't do anything really. That's the government's purview. But the premier of Nova Scotia and Minister Churchill made it abundantly clear last week that the teachers union is just blowing smoke and there's no problems and everything is fine and everything is ready and perfect for kids next Tuesday. So, where we are now, it falls again to teachers, like it always does in Nova Scotia, to make the best of a lack of preparation on the part of government to keep kids safe as possible under less than ideal conditions.
What are you hearing from parents right now, Paul?
There's a lot of concerns, especially among parents of young children in early years, because there's no hand washing stations in schools. We're relying exclusively on industrial strength hand sanitizer. There are a lot of parents with children that have sort of skin sensitivities about how those allergies are going to be exacerbated. Whether or not prolonged exposure to industrial strength hand sanitizers is healthy or developmentally appropriate for young kids. We have parents in high school, students in Nova Scotia have 2 really, really long classes a day. And whether or not students are, in rooms where there's poor ventilation, where it's going to be really, really warm, whether or not that's going to promote the kind of learning that's beneficial for them after being away from learning for 6 months. So lots of parents have lots of concerns about lots of things, that's for sure.
So in Nova Scotia, is there the option for online learning?
There is none. One of the things that we applauded initially in the reopening plan here in Nova Scotia was our Minister of Education made a public commitment that any student and any staff member with pre-existing immunocompromised health conditions would be supported where appropriate to learn or work remotely. That there was technology purchase and there were big promises made, but by and large, parents with kids that are immunocompromised, staff that are immunocompromised have basically been told you can either go to school and put a mask on, a non-medical mask on, or you can register for homeschooling or take an unpaid leave of absence. So, that has really fallen short of what was promised publicly in July. And that's a grave concern to a lot of parents because Nova Scotia doesn't have paid sick leave. And for kids that get sick, they're required to self-isolate. They're not going to be allowed to attend school. And that puts Nova Scotian families who rank among the nation's working poor in large numbers in a perilous position of having to decide whether or not they can afford to keep their kids home or whether they have to do what they can to keep their family afloat financially after job layoffs and things like that. So, we're in a tough spot here in Nova Scotia, but teachers are doing everything they can to be supportive and there for kids and families in this time.
Okay, well, we'll stay in touch and see how things go these next few days and weeks. Paul Wozney, he's the president of the Nova Scotia Teachers Union. Thank you.